Hola everyone. I want to let you know that I'm going to do a special presentation today on a chart which I'm going to put on to YouTube. This is for David Stieg Hansen, a new friend of mine. I just wanted to show him the trade routes that the Chinook trade charts show that go through the Eye of the Sahara, the Rig tax structure, whatever you might want to call it, that's in Marantia. But before I go into that, what I would like to do, tell everyone too, is that with this presentation I'm planning to do and put onto YouTube for David Stieg Hansen, I'm also wanting to let the people let people know what I'm planning to do is take all of the other videos that we made that are on YouTube that aren't on Patreon yet. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to be posting them onto the Patreon for the rest of September, all the way through the beginning of October. And in October, what I plan is to start the Chinook charts or Journey's End to show my entire charts that I'm going to show you here. But in order to see the charts, what I'm planning to do is show the Patreon people first. And then a week later, what I'll do is I'll post it on YouTube so the people on YouTube can see it, but they'll see it delayed by a week. But you'll still see it. It's just a week later. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that's the announcements, what I'm planning to do. And this presentation, like I said, is for David Stieg Hansen, and this will show a route. But what I want to talk about first, this is a route that shows the closest trade route between the two continents. In other words, from Europe, Africa to the Americas, in other words, where it's probably the closest route that you could go between the two continents. Columbus went all the way from Italy all the way to the islands in the Caribbean and the Atlantic, which is like, man, one heck of a long trip. I'm surprised, they didn't have a mutiny, but that's for another
Well,
story.
they almost did.
Okay, I'm not surprised because that's a long
And they also witnessed UFOs.
If they knew about this other route, there probably would have been no mutiny. There would have been a big party, more likely.
Right.
But anyway, that's for another story too. So what I'm going to tell you right now is that this needs to be talked in a logical sense in the trade talk from the Chinook perspective. In order for this trade network from Europe, Africa to the Americas to work, and the shortest route, you have to remember that you have to follow the Atlantic currents. The Atlantic currents go from Europe, the Azores, and North Africa, and down into the southern hemisphere toward South America, and they kind of go back up again. It's a roundabout current. But in order for the Chinook trade to work, we follow the currents. I mean, it'd be pointless to try to go up current in the ocean because it ain't going to get anywhere. But I just want to let you know that to start with, that's because to start the charts, I need to start in Europe and then work my way down into Africa. And then I can show you where the area is where they get to the current that carries them to the Americas, if I said that right. So let's get started here. What I'm going to get started on is where this chart begins, which is really interesting because if you look over here at 52 degrees, the red is latitude, 21 degrees longitude, blue is longitude. This to the right are the actual GPS readings from the computer, from the internet. 52, 21, 52, 21. I put these here just to let you know that verify our ancient Chinook mapping is right along in sync with modern GPS readings. Like this one that starts in Warsaw, Poland at the Vistula River. And this starts, like I said, at 52 degrees latitude, 21 degrees longitude east. Got to remember that because there's the east and the west. So how this works, it works in a diagonal trade route. Why diagonally? Because the trade routes that we used to do in those days needed to follow the winter solstice. Why did it need to follow the winter solstice? Because that was the best time to go across the oceans when they're less likely to have typhoons, hurricanes, or any of those storms that could kill you, because they like to be out in the summertime. So if you went in the summer solstice, you're more likely going to run into a hurricane, typhoons, and all of that. So to minimize that, we always did our global trade at winter solstice, which explains this diagonal alignment. These alignments are in sections, but what they really are is one continuous alignment if you just keep going and going and going and going and going and going. But my sheet just doesn't, paper doesn't go and go and go. So what I'm doing is taking this, and then I'm taking it to the next run, to the next level, and then to the next level, so that you'd understand how the system works. 52 degrees latitude, 51, 50, 49, then you hit 48 degrees latitude, 7 degrees longitude east. You hit the Nuremberg, Austria, 47, 46, 45, 44. You hit Pula, Croatia. That's at 44 degrees latitude, 13 degrees longitude east. Then you hit Lake Trasimeno, which is by the Passard River, and now you're beginning to enter into Italy. And what is in Italy? The Orbitello. And Orbitello is an island located right off the coast of Italy, right above Rome, at 42 degrees latitude, 11 degrees longitude east. So Orbitello is located right above Rome. So when you leave the island, you're going across the waters, then the first place you hit is at 40 degrees latitude, 9 degrees longitude. You hit Olbia, Sardinia, which is an island out in the Mediterranean. And when you go to 39 degrees latitude, 9 degrees longitude, you hit the Cagliari, I can't even say the word, Cagliari, Sardinia, and then the Punta La Marmora, Sardinia, which is located at 39 degrees latitude, 90 degrees longitude east. And those are the ones that are in between, because these are counted just as valid as the ones that are inside. These are the combination of these two numbers in between. So if you notice, like 39.9, there's 39. And where did I get the 9? Right there. See, 39.9, 39.9. That's in between points that are between these places. Then you go to Calaforte at 39 degrees latitude, 8 degrees longitude, which is right at the same area here. From this point on, 38, 37, and then you hit 36. At 36 degrees latitude, 5 degrees longitude east, you hit Gigel, Algeria, which is the first place you hit on the mainland of Northern Africa.
So this whole area is basically Africa from down here.
Yeah, this is all the way up to the African continent. Everything I showed you is going up to the African continent from Sardinia. So Gigel, which is by the in Algeria, from that point on, this is where you go across the desert. And this is going funny because you have to try to cross a lot of desert. 35, 34, 33, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, until you finally hit 2111. And what is that? 2111? And that's one of those that's in between places I was telling you about, because there's the 20, and then the 11 is right, 2111. There's the 21, and then there's 11, which makes that the 2111. And then what's at this in-between point? It's called the Richat structure, which is located at 21 degrees, 7 minutes, 0.3992 seconds north, 11 degrees, 24 minutes, 18.6552 seconds degrees west, because now you're on the other side of the line.